The movie opens with a young boy named Steve. All he wants is to reach the overworld and become the greatest miner who ever lived. He ran to the local mine, only to be stopped by this grumpy old man at the entrance because there was one rule: absolutely no children allowed. Years went by, and Steve finally became a chubby, boring adult, far from the mines. He worked as a salesman in a pretty boring office too, until one day, while playing with his lunch, he remembered that he was once a kid with a soul and a dream to enter the mines. So he went back, pickaxe in hand, heart full of hope. This time, he was sure nothing and no one could stop him. Steve was quicker this time and managed to sneak past the grumpy old man's weak security. He got inside and started digging and digging. That's when he found two mysterious items, a crystal cube and another one called the creation cube. When he put them together, a portal opened in front of him, leading to a magical world, the Overworld, a place where anything was possible and everything was square. He could become the perfect architect, building anything he could imagine. Even a house made entirely of wool from a pink sheep, if he wanted to. Everything was perfect, except for one tiny thing. At night, a horde of people would try to unalive him until he found a friend, a wild wolf, who, at first, tried to eat him. But with a juicy femur bone, Steve managed to tame him. He named him Dennis, and from then on, they were inseparable. Together, they built wonders. They shaped the world however they wanted, and truly created a perfect world here, the Steve world.
Welcome to Steve's!
Time flew by until one day Steve found some ancient ruins, and there, a chest. Inside, he discovered new tools and materials that helped him complete the ruins, which revealed a new portal, this time to the underworld, the Nether. A dark dimension, lacking creativity, ruled by the piglins, greedy, cruel, and ruthless humanoid pigs. All of them followed a powerful sorceress known as Malgosia, a truly evil pig witch who wanted the creation cube to build the Orb of Dominion, the most powerful cube-shaped orb in the entire universe. With it, she planned to steal all the gold from the overworld. But Steve escaped with the orb. He gave it to Dennis, who took it back to Earth and hid it where no one would ever find it, under Steve's waterbed. As long as the orb stayed there, the overworld would be safe. Years later, we meet Garrison, a strong guy who revolutionized the gaming world by becoming the star of a popular arcade game. A man with a great diet and a very unique training method. His skill at throwing trash with pinpoint accuracy earned him the nickname the Trash Man. He became famous and made a lot of money. He had it all, until one day, he got an eviction notice. And now, Garrett is broke. His solution? Invest in forgotten storage units. Looking for something valuable to resell, he found an old and extremely rare item, an Atari 78, the Cosmos.
It's got a waterbed. I think it's also got a 1978 Atari Cosmos.
Those things are worth a frickin' fortune.
The bidding started, and after a short auction, Garrett won the unit for just $900.
900 going 3 times and sold! Garrett, the garbage man.
I wouldn't cash that for about 6 months.
What?
But there was a problem. When he opened the box, he was crushed. Instead of the legendary Atari, the box was full of useless junk. And the creation cube, of course. But no one noticed the glowing blue cube. Frustrated, angry, and disappointed, Garrison was left with a storage unit full of what seemed like garbage, and that shiny cube. On the way home, his car broke down in the middle of nowhere. Scene shifts to Henry and his older sister, Natalie. They had recently moved to the city after their mother passed away. With little money to spare, Natalie found a modest job that let them rent a cheap apartment. On the way to their new home, they ran into Garrett, who was struggling with his overheated car. At their new place, a friendly real estate agent welcomed them warmly.
Must be Henry. Nice to meet you. I'm Don.
Why is there an alpaca hanging out of your car?
Also do some mobile zoo stuff on the side.
The next morning, Natalie made breakfast for Henry, a potato pizza for him to share with his new classmates. She also gave him the town's most popular perfume, the fancy Velvet Mischief by Boise, which unfortunately smelled like rotten eggs.
It smells like banana bread and poo.
Henry wasn't too thrilled, but he headed off to school anyway. On the way, he passed by Garrett's video game shop. Inside, Garrett was just rearranging his display, and since he really needed the money, he saw an opportunity. He offered to mentor Henry for just $50 an hour. He told him that making friends at a new school was like a puzzle.
Friendship is like a puzzle. Sometimes you think you need lots of pieces to be cool, and sometimes it's just one piece to be cool.
He also said that one person alone isn't a team, but with two, you can overcome anything. A little confused by Garrett's words, Henry left the pizza behind and continued on to school. There, he was greeted by the principal, who handed him his name tag. Henry, but with an exclamation sign. During their talk, she admitted that her marriage had been broken for a long time, but she and her partner stayed together out of love for their dogs. Later, Henry entered the classroom, where the teacher casually told the students how much he hated his life. During art class, the students were told to draw a still life, but Henry didn't follow the instructions. Instead of drawing a bowl of fruit or a vase, he drew a banana with a jetpack. The teacher scolded him and told him to stick to the rules.
Do the assignment next time.
Then a classmate added that, anyway, the jetpack wouldn't even work.
New kid thinks he's a rocket scientist.
But Henry believed in the power of math, so he got to work, determined to prove them wrong. He built a real jetpack prototype. But those two jealous classmates sabotaged it by cutting one of the wires. The launch started off thrilling, but ended in disaster. And right at that moment, Natalie, who worked at the potato company, was startled as something crashed straight into the building from above. The principal, alarmed by the incident, asked to meet with Henry's guardian. Desperate to avoid bigger trouble if they called his sister, Henry decided to call Garrett and asked him to pretend to be his uncle in exchange for $26.
Could you come to my school and pretend to be my uncle?
No way, I don't do that stuff anymore.
I have $26.
Garrett showed up right away.
Hi, I'm Henry's uncle.
The trash bag? Garbage man, huh? Bag me up and take me to the curb anytime.
By the way, that dog is still hanging around, and no one seems to notice. Garrett took Henry back to the shop, where they noticed the strange glowing cube. Henry asked about it, but Garrett had no idea what it was either. They found an old instruction manual. In it, one big warning stood out in bold letters. Under no circumstances should the orb and the crystal cube be combined. So, of course, they opened it. The cube led them deep into the abandoned mine, completely ignoring every danger warning. Inside the mine, they found the portal. Just as Natalie and the real estate agent suddenly appeared out of nowhere, they had been tracking them the whole time. That's when the mysterious cube started glowing with strange energy, pulling Henry toward it. Without thinking, everyone grabbed onto him, and one by one, they were all sucked into the vortex, crossing through the portal into the overworld. Stunned by this new universe, Garrett proudly introduced himself as a 1989 gaming legend.
Wait, who are you again?
Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, Gamer of the Year 1989.
Soon after, they spotted the pink sheep, watching them curiously. They took this as their first mission and decided to follow it. But they weren't alone. A square-shaped villager, who had secretly been watching everything, slipped through the portal back to Earth. Meanwhile, in the dark and barren nether, the piglins were growing tired of digging with no gold in sight. Malgosia the witch, furious with their failure, threatened them once again. If they didn't find more treasure soon, she would send them to the overworld, where they would be turned into zombies. Just then, she felt something. The orb's portal was starting to activate. She rushed to confront Steve, who was still her prisoner. She knew he had stolen the orb. So, she set him free. But under one condition. If he wanted to save his beloved wolf Dennis, he had to find the cube and bring it back. Back in the overworld, Garrett was desperately trying to impress the pink sheep, begging her to give him quests to find gold.
Give us a quest that will lead us to your treasure lode.
Garbage man, I work in the animal field and I am telling you that thing doesn't understand a word you're saying.
Time passed, and nothing happened, until Dennis, the wolf, came running and let out a mighty howl. The sheep immediately backed away, and a strange silence fell over everything. But that silence was soon broken by terrifying sounds. From the shadows came hunter skeletons, giant spiders, zombies, and creepers, attacking without mercy. While running away, Henry tripped over a tree log, and that's when he realized he could build a fort with it for protection. Garrett, meanwhile, was hiding when a bush with legs suddenly exploded right next to him, leaving him dazed. His scream gave away his location, and soon the zombies surrounded him. As he ran, he spotted the orb again, but a flying arrow shattered it, and the portal closed.
That can't be good!
Then the battle began. Garrett fought the zombies, but was quickly overwhelmed. Until Henry broke a hole in the wall and pulled him to safety. The zombies managed to break into the fort Henry had built, and all hope seemed lost, until Steve appeared. With skill, courage, and a killer soundtrack, he defeated every single enemy, leaving everyone completely amazed. Soon after, the sun began to rise, and as per Overworld rules, the zombies caught fire under its rays. Steve then explained why he was there. He came for the Orb of Dominion. He offered a deal. He'd help them return to Earth, but in exchange, he would keep the orb. Without the crystal cube, the return trip would be dangerous, so they had to get it back or find the only other way. Everyone agreed.
You gotta give me that orb. What do you say? Do we have a deal?
He did just kill like 20 zombies.
More like 15, but okay.
Even Steve, especially after Garrett threatened to crush his head with his own butt.
I will crack your cabeza with my butt cheeks like a walnut.
Meanwhile, back on Earth, the square-shaped villager who crossed the portal was hit by the school principal, who was driving her Grand Cherokee. Embarrassed and afraid of being sued, she tried to make up for it by inviting him to dinner.
Your head is huge. You're not gonna sue me, are you? How about this? What if I just take you to dinner?
Back in the Overworld, the group arrived at a peaceful village filled with kind, square villagers. They took a break to recover and enjoy some roast chicken.
You ever wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken?
I'm not a little wimp like Big Steve here.
Garbage man, you're a big-time idiot.
Far away in the Nether, Malgosia was furious after all her plans failed. So she summoned the strongest warrior in her army, Chungus, the most powerful and kindest piglin of them all. Malgosia told him that 4 strange beings had the orb, and before sending him on his mission, she handed him a potion that would protect him and his troops from turning into zombies during the journey.
Take this neitherwort so you don't zombify.
Meanwhile, in the Overworld, the group pressed on toward the legendary mansion. On the way, they gained access to Steve's stash, a magical space overflowing with incredible tools and items, TNT, fireworks, speed boots, diamond armor, and more swords than anyone could count. Among all the treasures, Garrett found a chest containing a single ender pearl, an item that could teleport the user wherever it was thrown. Skeptical, Garrett tossed it casually behind him, not realizing it was the only one left.
What the?
And that was the only one I had. No biggie. Almost died fighting an Enderman for it.
Later, Steve taught them how to craft new tools using the resources available in the world. Feeling inspired, Garrett built his own custom weapon, a pair of clumsy metal buckets.
Buckets are useful here.
They're cool, Garrett. They're like nunchucks.
I know. That's why I made them. They're buck chuckets.
They're what?
Meanwhile, Henry fused strange real-world items with in-game materials and invented a never-before-seen portable cannon.
The tot launcher.
You just took boring junk from the real world to create something amazing. That is next level.
Sometime after, Garrett pulled Steve aside for a private chat. He revealed he had found the hidden note inside the orb and asked directly about the rumored treasures. Steve admitted he had a massive hoard of diamonds stashed deep within the mines, far from the mansion, but he warned getting there was incredibly dangerous. Garrett didn't flinch. No diamonds, no orb, he declared.
I'm gonna keep it simple for you, Steve. No diamonds. No orb.
And so, they set course for the mines. Just as they were preparing to leave, the world trembled. Piglins had arrived, destroying everything in their path. Steve stood to protect his group, and so did Garrett. Wielding his improvised weapon, he charged in, but tripped over his own invention and accidentally smacked Steve in the face. Chaos erupted. Garrett was flattened by his own buckets, and the only weapon that actually worked was Henry's, who took down several piglins with amazing aim. Everyone fought for their lives. Even Natalie and the real estate agent joined the fray. But in the chaos, the group was split. Natalie and the agent went one way, Garrett and Henry another. Before separating, they agreed to regroup at the mansion. But soon the boys reached a giant chasm. Crossing it on foot was impossible. The only option, fly. Steve handed them 2 pairs of elytra wings, but in a sudden act of sacrifice, and possibly affection, he tackled Garrett mid-air so they could fly together. What followed was an epic aerial chase. They soared through crumbling walls, dodged incoming attacks, and pulled off acrobatic stunts to evade the piglin army. However, when they approached a narrow tunnel, they realized the only way to fit through was, well, in a very intimate flying position. Somehow, it worked. They shot through the passage and crash-landed into a nearby lake, completely unscathed.
Now get ready!
Back on Earth, the school principal is enjoying a romantic dinner with the villager she accidentally ran over. In the Overworld, Steve shares more about Malgosia. He tells them that when she was young, she dreamed of becoming a world-famous dancer. Her moves were so smooth and modern that they were too advanced for the strict rules of the Nether. Sadly, her father kicked her out and shamed her for her art. Since then, she gave up on all creativity and beauty. Now, if she gets the orb, she will destroy the overworld and all its innocent people. Meanwhile, deep in the nether, Malegosia punishes General Chungus for failing. Angry and heartless, she releases her ultimate weapon, the Great Pig, a huge wild beast. It wakes up in a rage and quickly crushes Chungus before going after the orb.
Kill him! Find the roundlings and bring me the orb!
Elsewhere, Natalie and the real estate agent run into Dennis the Wolf. Since they know Dennis belongs to Steve, they decide to follow him, hoping he'll lead them back to the group.
Wait. Steve's Dennis? Let's follow that pooch!
Far away, the boys finally reach the deep cave where the diamonds are. But it's not easy. The cave is full of traps, and one even hits Garrett on the butt. After getting past the dangers, a door opens to the diamond room. But Steve smells something bad. The Great Pig is near. Quickly, he tells the others there's a safe room ahead. They jump into minecarts to escape fast. But at the worst moment, the power for the rails dies. The minecarts stop, right in front of a field of explosive bushes. Then the Great Pig shows up, roaring with anger. As Garrett pushes the cart, Steve and Henry hit the bushes to trigger a huge explosion. The plan works, and they escape safely. After a short argument between Garrett and Henry,
I need the diamonds because I need the money because I'm broke. You wouldn't know anything about that. I'm a freaking loser. And that's not the worst part. I'm alone.
Who's your friend?
the whole group makes a plan to sneak into the mansion. According to Steve, the place has 3 levels. The first floor is guarded by warrior villagers who are very serious. The second floor is full of powerful wizards who can summon monsters. The third floor holds the Enderman crystal, protected by the Enderman, a deadly creature that can kill you just by looking at you. They just need one thing to get past the villagers: music.
Friendship is the wish you make when you're blowing out the candles on your birthday cake. Go, Hank, go, while we blow!
But the plan fails. Steve and Garrett get caught and are forced to join an underground fight club against a zombie riding a wild chicken. Meanwhile, Henry has made it all the way to the vault on the mansion's 3rd floor. There, he comes face to face with the Enderman himself. Back in the fight ring, it looks like Garrett is finally winning, but he makes the mistake of trusting the evil baby zombie, who tricks him.
I'm sorry, little buddy.
Don't fall for it, Gargar! That baby's got the heart of a demon!
Pet your little head.
In the vault, things aren't going well for Henry either. He looks the Enderman in the eyes and starts hallucinating. With no other choice, he pulls out his diamond sword and charges. Down below, Steve finally breaks free from his chains and saves Garrett by taking out the baby zombie, once and for all. Henry and the Enderman fight in an intense battle, but in the end, Henry wins. As a reward, he gets the teleportation orb. After escaping the mansion, the group suddenly runs into the piglin sorceress Malegosia. She had been tracking them using the magical scent of the orb. With a cruel smile, she steals the cube of creation. Now, the 3 heroes must survive once again, but their options are few. Then, Garrett throws Henry into the air, and he lands in one of the pig's hot air balloons. Steve jumps too, but Garrett refuses to leave.
Save your sister and get home!
You don't have to do this!
Tell my story in song! Keep it metal, keep it heavy.
He stays behind to fight the pigs and sets off a massive explosion that destroys a huge part of the land, stopping Malegosia from finishing them. The shockwave separates the group, and the boys crash far away, hurt and dizzy. A little later, Dennis wakes Steve up. They are now in a shelter made of giant mushrooms that the real estate agent built. But the happy reunion doesn't last long. Earth is being taken over by Malgosia's dark power. The heroes decide it's time for the final battle. They start crafting new, strong tools. Henry, with the teleportation orb in hand, makes a plan. He powers up the iron golems with a new super speed module. Now they have an army of metal giants ready to fight the piglin hordes. Malegosia laughs when she sees them. She knows golems don't attack unless they feel threatened.
Ha! Iron golems will not attack unless provoked!
But then, a careless piglin pig throws the first punch, starting a full-on war.
Real smooth, Travis!
The golems, now angry, unleash their fury on the nether armies. Furious, Malegosia unleashes her most destructive weapon, the Great Pig. At the same time, Steve appears before her in diamond-carved armor, holding a mighty sword. The witch is ready to strike, but Steve is faster and launches a surprise attack that ends with him on the ground. In another part of the battlefield, Henry rushes to get the Dominion Orb while Natalie is left alone. Just then, the Great Pig breaks free from battle and appears next to her. There's no time to run. Natalie braces for the worst, But a voice stops the beast. It's the real estate agent, standing on a hill with a pack of wild wolves she's tamed and now leads. She orders the attack. The wolves charge at the Great Pig. In the chaos, the Great Pig fires a lightning blast that hits Henry directly, knocking him out. A heavy silence falls over the battlefield. Everyone freezes until Garrett appears through the smoke and heroically saves him.
You're alive!
Let's get this orb and go home.
The heroes quickly regroup. They destroy Malgosha's dark machine and throw the Dominion orb into the void. Light slowly begins to return to the overworld, and the zombies start falling. But just before the orb is gone forever, the Great Pig catches it. When all seems lost, the Supreme Golem strikes with a massive blow, crushing the Great Pig and taking back the orb. Now Steve stands before Malgosha, weak, defeated, and with no way to escape. Knowing that victory is his, he spares her and lets her live with the shame of her failure.
Wait, one more thing. Come closer.
Do you have a little knife that you're gonna try to stab me with?
Come on. Wait, let me say one more thing. Lean down here. Goodbye.
It's time for goodbyes. Steve invites Henry to stay in the overworld, but Henry decides to go back to his world. After some sad farewells, Steve watches them walk through the portal. Just as he turns to return to his lonely life in the overworld, he stops, thinks for a moment, and then follows them through the portal, back to Earth. Days later, everything has changed. Garrett has leveled up and turned his shop into one of the most famous in town. Along with the rest of the group, he's helped create a brand new video game, and they rock out together often. Everyone's doing great, and Henry has finally made his jetpack work. He flies freely through the skies, living his dream. And the end. Wait, not yet. Turns out the date between the principal and the villager went really well. Now he speaks human, and she's learned villager speak. So, he proposes.
You see, when Marlene's Jeep Grand Cherokee ran me over, now I speak human, and she speaks villager. I wanted to say, would you marry me?
1,000 times yes!
Now, it's really the end.